You keep trying to fix your mind. You tell yourself you should be calmer, more focused, less reactive, less tired, less on edge. And when you can't seem to change it, you start to think something is wrong with you. But what if nothing is broken? What if your mind is simply doing what it learned to do very well? Your brain is not designed for happiness. It is designed for survival. And survival training never gets erased. It only gets updated. At some point in your life, your system learned that being alert was necessary, that scanning was useful, that thinking ahead prevented pain, that staying ready reduced risk. So it built a program, a pattern of attention, a way of interpreting the world, a habit of staying one step ahead. That program once kept you safe. But now it keeps running even when the danger's gone. Not because your mind is malfunctioning, but because it's loyal to what once worked, and it doesn't know the situation has changed yet. This survival program didn't install itself in one moment. It was built slowly, through repetition. Every time you had to be careful, every time you had to think ahead, every time you had to stay emotionally guarded, every time you learned that mistakes had consequences. Your nervous system took notes. It learned patterns. When I stay alert, I avoid trouble. When I overthink, I reduce risk. When I prepare, I don't get caught off guard. When I stay tense, I'm ready. And because these strategies worked, your brain reinforced them. Neurons that fire together wire together. So vigilance became automatic. Control became comforting. Readiness became your baseline. You didn't choose this consciously. It was trained into you. And the younger the system learns something, the deeper it becomes embedded. So now, years later, the program still runs. Not because you need it, but because it doesn't know that you no longer do. Your environment may be safer. Your life may be more stable. Your responsibilities may be manageable. But your nervous system is still living in an earlier chapter. It's still using old data. It treats uncertainty as threat. It treats silence as suspicious. It treats rest as vulnerability. So it keeps scanning, keeps thinking, keeps preparing, even when there's nothing to prepare for. And because this process happens below conscious thought, you interpret it as your personality. I'm just an overthinker. I'm just anxious. I'm just high-strung. I'm just wired this way. But you're not wired. You're trained. And what was trained can be updated. Once this survival program becomes your default, it doesn't just affect how you react to danger, it shapes how you interpret everything. Neutral situations start to feel uncertain, uncertainty starts to feel risky, and risk starts to feel urgent. So your mind stays busy, not because you like thinking, but because the program is constantly asking one question: are we safe? And to answer that, it scans. It scans your past for mistakes. It scans the present for signals. It scans the future for possible problems. This is why your thoughts don't slow down when things are finally okay. Because the program was never designed for okay. It was designed for just in case, so it runs simulations. What if this goes wrong? What if they're upset? What if I mess this up? What if something changes? Not because you're pessimistic, not because you're broken, but because your system learned that anticipation equals protection. And here's the painful part. The more this program runs, the more it convinces you that it's you. You start to identify with it. This is just my personality. This is how my mind works. I've always been like this. So instead of seeing the pattern, you become the pattern. You stop questioning why your body is tense when you're safe, why your mind is racing when nothing is wrong, why rest feels uncomfortable, why silence feels loud. The program has normalized hypervigilance. It has made constant readiness feel like baseline reality. And because the brain is incredibly good at adapting, it builds an entire emotional identity around it. The thinker, the planner, the one who stays ahead, the one who never relaxes fully. But this identity is not who you are. It's who you had to become. And until the brain learns that the environment has changed, it will keep playing the same script, not out of malfunction, out of loyalty. This old survival program doesn't shut down because you tell it to. It shuts down when your nervous system learns, through experience, that the world you're living in now is not the world it was trained for. The brain updates through evidence, not arguments. You can understand everything intellectually, that you're safe, that you're capable, that the past is over, but the body only believes what it repeatedly lives, so the change happens slowly, gently, in small moments. Moments where you allow yourself to pause and nothing bad follows. Moments where you don't scan and nothing collapses. Moments where you don't prepare and you still handle what comes. Each of these experiences sends a quiet message to the system. We don't need this level of protection anymore. At first, the program resists. It tightens, it brings up thoughts, it creates restlessness, not because you're regressing, but because it's checking whether it's still needed. So you don't fight it, you don't try to erase it, you simply stay present long enough for your nervous system to notice. No danger appears, no punishment arrives, no disaster follows, and slowly, something shifts. The body softens without being forced, the mind slows without being controlled, alertness loosens without being suppressed. The old program doesn't disappear, it updates. It stops running in the background all the time. It activates only when truly needed. And for the first time, your system learns a new truth. Constant vigilance is no longer required for survival. You're not broken. You never were. You were protecting yourself in the only way you knew how. And now, your mind is learning that it's finally allowed to rest.